Hey guys, so now that we have finished chapter 7, our last 2.5 weeks or so of school are going to look a little bit different, as we won't be just going through another chapter. We will be kind of skipping around different lessons. We will focus a little bit on one chapter in particular, but we will do a few different lessons throughout the book, just to make sure we get at least a glimpse into some of the things we may see in pre-calculus. What we're going to start with is from chapter 12. So we're skipping all the way to chapter 12, and we're going to do a few lessons out of there for this week, and then we will move forward and do a few different things. So this week we are looking at matrices. So we've learned a little bit about matrices already, okay, at a matrix, okay. A matrix, you remember, is an array of numbers, okay. It's a grouping of numbers, and so that we can usually take an equation and not have to worry about the variables anymore and just simply worry about the numbers. Well, what we're going to look at today is adding and subtracting matrices. So let's skip this. All right, so oops. There we go. Sorry about that. So first, let's look at our reviews of our basics, okay? Remember, an array of numbers. So something like -1, 3, 2, 5. There's a matrix right there. We can describe the matrix by the dimensions. Remember, we have rows and we have columns, okay? Rows go across, columns go up and down. So therefore, this matrix is a 2 by 2 matrix, 2 rows with 2 columns. Rows always come first, columns always come second. So if I gave us this matrix, what would we have? Think about it for just a second. What would the dimensions of this matrix be? Well, rows come first. How many rows? 1, 2, 3. 3. And then how many columns? 1, 2, 3 by 2. Okay. So the first thing that's important is understanding that we can come up with the dimensions of a matrix. The next thing that's important is understanding our different components. Okay. Let's call this matrix A. Okay. So this first matrix is A. Okay. The second matrix is going to be B. Okay. I can ask for different elements or components of this matrix based on positions of those numbers. So for example, if I ask for A 21, okay, it's not A21, it's A21, which simply means where are we in matrix A on row 2, column 1. Row 2, column 1, right there. A21 would equal 2. Okay, how about B32? Where is B32? We go to row 3, column 2. That's 0. Okay, so we can list all of our different elements using a letter and then 2 numbers underneath that give us the row and column, the position of that element. All right, so we can have dimensions of a matrix. We can now have the elements of a matrix. We hopefully know the very basics of matrices. Now what we're going to look at is, what do we do when we are adding and subtracting? Okay, so first is we are only going to look at adding and subtracting matrices that have the same dimensions. Okay, the dimensions need to be exactly the same. All right, so our first one we're going to do, let's go matrix A is going to be, let's just go 1, -2, 0, and 3. and matrix B is going to equal -3, 5, 2, and 1. All right, so we have these two matrices, okay? I can add and subtract these matrices, okay, very simply. If I want to do A plus B, what I do is I add the elements that are the same. So A11 is going to be added to B11, okay? Now again, the reason we do matrices that have the same dimensions is both of these are 2 by 2 matrices. Our answer is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix, all right? So when I do 1 plus -3, okay, I'll put my final answer down here. 1 plus -3 is -2, okay? Then I'll go to the next one. I'll do -2 and 5. All right, -2 plus 5, that is 3. And then we'll go 0 and 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. And then we'll go 3 and 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. There is our answer for doing A plus B. Very simple. We are adding the corresponding elements. All right. Same thing for subtraction. Okay. Same thing for subtraction. So let's go. I'll do it in green. A minus B. All right. So if I'm going to do A minus B, same thing, we're going to make sure we correspond. Now, if you don't have to write it all out, because hopefully these numbers are fairly simple, great, do that. Some of you will need to, otherwise you might make mistakes. So for example, on this very first one, we're going to have 1 minus -3. Again, make sure you write things in the correct order. We're doing A minus B. 1 minus -3 is 1 plus 3, which is 4. Okay. Then we have -2 minus 5. That's -7. And then we have 0 minus 2. That's -2. And then we have 3 minus 1, which is +2. So for A minus B, we're going to get 4, -7, -2, and 2. Okay. Hopefully nothing too confusing about that. Simply adding and subtracting. Again, as long as our matrices have the same dimensions, we're going to be able to add and subtract. Okay. The only other thing that we're really going to do is try and figure out. Basically, they're going to give us an equation with matrices. Oh, look at this. And they're going to ask us to kind of find what's missing. So for example, they're going to tell us that A plus X equals B. And then they're going to tell us A is equal to, and they'll give us something. So let's go 1, 3, 0, 2, -1, and 5. Okay. And then they're going to tell us that B is equal to 2, -4, -1, -2, 0, and 1. And so with their original problem they gave us A plus X equals B. Well, if we write that out, we know what A is, 1, 3, 0, 2, -1, 5. We know we have to add common matrices with the same dimensions, so, but we don't know what X is, and we already know what it equals. It equals 2, -4, -1, -2, 0, and 1. Okay, so we got to find out the missing pieces. Okay, well, this should be fairly simple. First, and one of the options is get this missing matrix by itself. So subtract matrix A from B. Or just do the math. 1 plus what equals 2? That's a 1. 3 plus what equals -4? -7. 0 plus what equals -1? -1. 2 plus what equals -2? -4. -1 plus what equals 0? -1 plus 1 equals 0. 5 plus what equals 1? 5 plus -4 equals 1. There is our missing matrix. Okay? Again, fairly simple. We're just adding and subtracting. Hopefully nothing too crazy with that. All right. So what I want from you guys is I want you guys to do just a few problems from this lesson. Make sure that we understand adding and subtracting. We'll keep it fairly simple. So like I said, we are doing chapter 12. So we are on 12:1. We're doing numbers. Let's keep it simple. Let's go 8 through 18. Evens. All right. So that's your first assignment for this week. I'll get the other video uploaded, and hopefully we won't have too much to go over when we see each other on Wednesday or Thursday.